Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe to the video as well as my channel. I am coming back with another review, another video. For those of you, it's your first time, welcome. And if it's not your first time, welcome back. My name is Chrisnatha Derosier. I am a certified life coach, speaker, and author. And I am reviewing Iyanla Fix My Life Season 8, Episode 6. And this episode is titled An Open Letter to All Black Men. And this episode was extremely special personally to me because though I may not have sons, I have godsons and I have honorary nephews and just amazing Black boys in my life. And it was important to see this message of helping them stay on track, helping to guide them along their journey so they do not end up in the education to prison pipeline. And that is exactly what Iyanla was doing in this episode. So this is a family of three that we have on this episode. David is the father. Lawrence is one of the sons, and David Jr. is the other son. And their mother recently passed away. She had cancer. So that has affected the entire family, as you can imagine. And she was actually the disciplinarian. So when she passed, there was no more discipline and there was no more accountability for her two sons. And so now they are in breakdown. And Iyanla believes that part of this bad behavior and the road that they're on is because they are grieving. However, the way that they are acting out will only land them possibly in jail or in prison or even dead, right? And so she's trying to help them see that their decisions, that the journey that they're on can only lead them to a very bad place. The father seems as though he's lost control. He's not able to really guide these young men anymore, or he's emotionally checked out, or he just doesn't know how to keep them accountable because it sounds like he's never had to do it before, that it was the mother's job, right? And we know in so many families that raising the children, keeping the children accountable, teaching the kids, really helping them learn their principles and all these things, a lot of families leave that up to the mother. But what happens when mom is no longer around, right? And so we want to make sure that we're looking at these episodes and that we learn from them. That's always the goal. And so if you see yourself or a piece of your family in any of these characters, so to speak, of any of these individuals that's in the episode, that you can take pieces from the episode and apply it to your own life. Because the goal is to watch, learn, and hopefully that we can apply it where necessary in our lives. And so the mom passed away from cancer, and that has been extremely, extremely hard on the entire family. And like I said, they're all dealing with it in a different way. So the mom was the matriarch of the family, and the sons are currently going down a very, very difficult path. They're going down a dangerous path. And they had to, each of them had to indicate where they were in the education to prison pipeline. Where were they? And they were very close to the prison end of it. They were close to the end of the pipeline, which is not a good thing. And so Iyanla and Dr. Perry wants to really help them see how they can stop in their tracks and do an about face. Dr. Perry, for those of you who don't know, is an amazing educator, and he's very experienced with working with Black young males. And so it was good to have his insight. 40%, 46% rather, of children who are suspended and expelled from kindergarten, starting from kindergarten on, are Black children. That is a lot. That's almost half. So Black children, we represent a large part of the population that's incarcerated. And so Iyanla really wanted these young men to see that if you don't stop, you're going to be a statistic. You're going to end up in the system. And that's not the path for you. And I also want to point out that these two young men come from a two-parent household. Many times people think if you come from a two-parent household, you will not have any issues or bad behavior. Yes, it is better to have both parents, but it's also important to know that While you are in the household, what are you teaching? Are you keeping them accountable? Are you, really paying attention to what's going on, the habits that they've created? So it's really important to also pay attention. But we all know that having mom and dad, both in their lives or in the household, is really, really important. The dad, David, he admitted that he was overwhelmed. He had just been completely overwhelmed with the death of his wife. And while he was taking care of his wife, he wasn't taking care of the boys. He wasn't paying attention. He wasn't still guiding and parenting them. He kind of just, they were left to themselves, and they acted out and grieved their mother in their own way. And that was through bad behavior, bad decisions, and also the company that they kept. He did say that Lawrence, one of the oldest son, was a blessing because him and his wife didn't think that they could have children. The dad also mentioned that he is a pastor. There was a moment where the dad broke down. He was really sad, and Iyanla, a lot of times when Black men get extremely emotional on her show, she will turn their face away from the camera so that they still feel like they have their dignity and that they're not super embarrassed, because it's so hard for them to bare their souls, especially on television. And so she had him turn toward the window, and he was crying and he was breaking down. And I think it was therapeutic for him because he could have been holding all of this in for a really long time. And he was saying that he has spent all these years doing good things for other people, teaching people the word of God, being a pastor, just being a good person. But yet he's looking at his own family and he just doesn't understand what happened. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this too, where you are saving the world and you're looking around in your household, you're looking around in your circle of influence, you're looking around at your family members, and you're thinking, what is going on? Why are we in breakdown? How can I be so useful and so transformative in these people's lives? But then the people that I'm the closest to, that I'm connected to the most, something is not clicking, right? And so it's not necessarily blaming the dad, but it's just saying you have to also nurture those relationships in your house, those relationships you're closest to. People are going to do what people want, but you want to make sure you're doing your part. But I did notice that he did mention that as well. And Dr. Perry held dad's feet to the fire. He did encourage him, but he also told him, set expectations and hold your sons accountable. You cannot allow young men to do what they want and not to be men of their word, because that's a habit, right? That's a characteristic that they need to be good men, men of their word. That's important. How many of us respect people who mean what they say and say what they mean, right? And so you want to make sure you instill that in your children. Iyanla meets with Lawrence, and she had him get into the pipeline so that he could get a better understanding of the path that he's on. And I think it clicked for him. I really hope it did. At least it seemed like it did. He did reveal that he has a child on the way, and that is something that his dad did not know. So he revealed that. So his dad was unaware. He did say that he has dreams of being like a police officer or a firefighter. So he definitely wants to serve his community and help people. So Dr. Steve Perry helped Lawrence to see that he's hanging out with the wrong crew. He's hanging out with people that tolerate his bad behavior instead of encouraging him to be better. So he challenged him to get around people that want to see him be better, a better version of himself, and gave him a goal to really set an appointment to start sitting down for those tests and those courses to be a firefighter or a police officer. So really just giving him some direction. And for all of us who have young Black men in our lives, we should be doing the same, whether you are the parent, the godparent, the auntie, the family friend, whatever it is. We have to hold young people accountable, young men accountable. And when they don't keep their end of the bargain, we have to call them out in love, but we have to call them out. That's how you learn. Be a person of your word. Be a man of your word. That's important. Iyanla speaks to David Jr. now, and she also has him look at the pipeline. He gets in, and he says, he admits that he is being reckless. He's being reckless, so he admits it. Dr. Steve Perry tells him that the path that he's on, he's going to end up in prison very soon. And he's also hanging out with the wrong crowd. So there's a saying that birds of a feather flock together. I know you guys have maybe heard that. But it's important to be around people that looks like where you're headed. So if you want to be successful, if any younger people are watching this, if you want to be successful, or if you want your children, young men in your home, in your life to be successful, you have to look at who they're hanging around. I think sometimes we try so hard to not offend the young people in our lives. And so we don't want to say anything to step on their toes. No, you're raising them, you're parenting them. And sometimes you have to come in with your advice. Will they do what they want? Sometimes, yeah. But you have to make sure that you are being the adult in the room. And so if you see their friends are on a bad path, it's okay to say, I don't think this is the best person to have in your life. They may or may not listen, but it's important that you voice what you feel and what's best for them in the long run. Don't be so focused on making sure that they're always happy with you, that they're never upset because you want to be their friend. You have to parent them as well. Iyanla and Dr. Perry are now sitting at the table. They're talking to the dad and saying that the dad avoids issues with his sons, which we can see through the episode that he does. And then the brothers also have some tension between them. So they're also trying to work through that. And we learned that Lawrence, who said earlier in the episode that he doesn't feel good, all of a sudden, when they went to go pick him up from the hospital, Lawrence refused any treatment, did not want to see a doctor, did not want to take any tests. So he did not have discharge papers. And that goes to show another example of what David Jr. was saying, that Lawrence manipulates his father. So to go to that extent, just to not have to deal with the show, I think was a bit extreme. But if it works on the dad, it works on the dad, right? So clearly they have deeper issues. And dad had an emotional breakdown after mom passed away, and the brothers are grieving, but they're also acting out. And so Iyanla and Dr. Perry are just working through this entire episode to really help them come to grips with what's going on and what could possibly happen if they don't get on track. And so this was a really good eye opener for me, as well as I'm sure all of you. If you have not seen the episode, go ahead and make sure that you go and check it out. I think it's going to be very beneficial, especially for anyone who has a young Black man in their life, to really make sure that you are help guiding them, keeping them accountable, making sure that you're instilling principles in them. Because remember, you are raising someone's future spouse, someone's future partner, someone's future father. And you want to make sure that you're not only leaving things for your son, but you're leaving really good things in your son. All right. So, guys, thank you for watching. Once again, make sure that you subscribe and like and leave a comment as well. Thank you guys so much. I am Chrisnatha Derosier, and I will see you guys really, really soon. And until then, be well.